Yeah, so if it's just silent, I'm going to get bored, and I'm not going to want to play the game. So I do need music. I do need music. Hi, chat. Good morning, good morning, good morning. It's not the morning. Good evening, good evening, good evening, good evening, good evening. How are all my lovely, lovely, lovelies doing here? How are you doing? My eyes are opening, right? I just have to keep looking to the left to see, and then it makes my eyes close, and so I don't know what's happening. And I can't see if my eyes are open. Hello, 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 hello. Thank you for the sweet, genuine praise, Ray. Ray, sweetie, you are oh so wonderful. Your model is incredible, and it is just so sweet that I see you in that stream. Oh, hi. Thank you for the follow. It is just oh so sweet to see you in the same little call with me, sleeping all the time. You're cute. You're wonderful, you're sweet, you're kind, you're flirty, and you're just a lot of fun. I really appreciate you, Ray. Thank you for being a member of my community. Hello, 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 everybody. Thank you, Keeper of Faith, for getting first. Thank you, Echo, for getting second. Thank you, Vonna, for getting third. You are. Good job, Flutie. You're such a good girl. Such a good girl. Thank you for the follow. Mitzi Hoshi. How you doing? Mitzi Hoshi, how you doing? Echo, lovely to see you. Aura, lovely to see you. Keeper, lovely to see you, of course. There we go. Wait, is that still right? Advanced audio properties. There it goes. Aura, lovely to see you. Flutie, lovely to see you. Amethyst. Amethyst. Always good to see my birthstone here. We said hello to Echo, Flutie. Hey TNT, how you doing? Lovely, lovely to see you as well. Lilith, good to see you. I hope you enjoyed the audio. Hope you enjoyed the audio. Moreau, hi, hi. And hello, 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 hello. How is everybody doing today? You actually put too much sugar? Put too much lemon in it now. And keep adding until it's just lemonade. I believe in you. You got this. Is everybody having a good day today? Hopefully. Would I like to update? No. Oh, it's one of these things. Okay, how do I... Aha. Settings. Shoot. Windowed mode? Window mode. Window mode. Window mode. Window mode. Oh, come on. I'm trying to fix this real quick, but it looks like this is going to be a pain in the ass. No day, no day. Big Berber, why have you not having a day? You should have a day. Mitzi, I'm glad you're having a good day. Aura, today's been a great day. I'm glad you have a good day. Hey, Verdi Pixel, how you doing? Take mine with you? What are you taking with you? Venus, how you doing, Venus? Oh, I'm sorry to hear that. I'm sorry to hear that. How's everybody doing? And if I did miss you, I apologize. Hi, Mitchie. Good to see you. I'm not Mr. Pants, and hi, Drake. Lovely, lovely to see you. Sariana, how you doing? How you doing? How you doing? Okay, so this is going to be a bit annoying. I'm going to complain about it now. Because this game doesn't have a window mode, which means I can't put my overlay over the game. Which means I'm going to have to keep looking left. And so whenever you see me closing my eyes, chat, I'm not closing my eyes. I'm looking down to see what you guys messaged me, okay? Okay. Now, today I was purchased a game. I was purchased a game because I briefly saw somebody playing it in a little TikTok clip. It's a lovely little game called Level Devil. For those of you who don't know about it, it is a rage game where, you know, you try to make it through a level. I am looking down on you, chat. I mean, stop being so fucking short. Yeah, so it should be interesting. I'm going to try to be as calm as possible the entire time. You have a SpongeBob themed birthday party? And because I've seen people play this game before, and it's always like goofy, but this one person, I was like, that's how I would react. Because she's being really stupid. Yay, stupid! So I think it should be good. Hi, Silas. Mwah. You can save your sus emo for this? Perfect, perfect, perfect. Okay. Vanya, go back to sleep. You need sleep. It's gonna be a chill stream today. Everybody's gonna be chill, right? We don't gotta worry about anything? There we go. I don't hate Vanya. I love Vanya. Also, by the way, if you missed the clip from yesterday where I couldn't say jar of garlic for like 5 minutes, it's getting edited. It's going to get like made really nice. It'll be going up on the TikTok, and we'll start having TikTok uploads. By the way, everybody who's been making me clips, thank you. I was going through the clips channel of the Discord, and my God, y'all make some good stuff. I didn't realize I was funny, but apparently I'm occasionally funny. It's kind of wild that Wubby noticed the rate. No. I want to talk about that. Chat, I want to talk about this. We need to talk about this. So, for those of you who weren't there for the raid, we raided into Pay Money Wubby. Big time streamer. I mean, he's not the biggest, but like 11,000 goddamn viewers. Big streamer, right? And we raid into him telling a story, and we go in there spamming Gar of Jarlic. And he goes, I guess welcome Raiders Garlic Boys, if that's a thing. So we're the Garlic Boys now. But, hear me out. We raid into a story about him telling about him going into a streamer being like, hey, check your DMs, which was kind of cringe, you know, as a big time streamer, and immediately leaving. And it turns out the reason why the guy hadn't checked his DMs was because he had to help a friend put down a dog. So we raid into Wubby feeling like shit, talking about like how he hopped into a streamer and how he did something cringe and did that. And meanwhile, we hop in the middle of his story explaining his emotional situation of how he felt like so awkward and shitty, doing the exact same thing. Oh. God, I need to see the clip. I need to see the clip of this because he's just like, oh yeah, Garlic Boys. What's up, Garlic Boys? Anyway, so his dog was dead. I mean, you know, I'm all about making a good impression. So first off, he thinks I'm a garlic boy. And second, I can relate. I can relate to him. It's a good thing. It's a win-win. I'm never gonna live it down. But hey, we got recognized, and that's all that really matters, right? Right? The other thing I did want to talk about is chat. So I posted up an image in the Discord in memes, and I wanted to see if anybody could get it, and I offered $20 to anybody who could figure out the relation between these two images and get the reference, okay? Okay. We're gonna take a little look here. Oh shit. Give me a second, chat. Fuck. Where am I? There we are. Okay. Sorry, chat. Okay, we fixed it. Anyways, no one got it. Nobody got it. So that's important. That's important to know that nobody got it. But we need to take a look at this. Okay. Here it is. I think that should be it. Yes. Okay. Perfect. You ready, chat? This. Daniel Yang. Why were there so many Asian women featured in old Nokia ads? And the response was, Nokia is from Finland. I'm gonna give you all like 5 seconds here. 10 seconds maybe. Do you know the relation? Anyone at all? Come on, somebody has to have something. Somebody has to say anything. Anything. Take a wild fucking guess. Meow is not an answer. Meow is not an answer. Try again. If anybody else fucking meows. Yeah. Fuck off. No. Okay. So here it is. Here it is, chat. There is a conspiracy theory that Finland doesn't exist, and it's actually due to a contract between Russia and Japan to have a location for them to fish that is against regulation, fishing regulation. And so Japan actually fishes in where Finland is, which is why Japan has the #1 exports from Nokia. Because Nokia exports more to Japan than anywhere else, though nobody seems to actually use Nokia phones there. And this was a theory that this random dude's father on Reddit had. Where he's never been to Finland. He has no reason to care about Finland. But the idea is that Finland doesn't exist, and that the reason all these phones have the Japanese stuff in is because Finland is actually a fake country that is actually a sea owned by Japan. Hence why there's Japanese ladies in Nokia's ads. It doesn't make sense. No, it's insane. It's a thing about like, oh, because the justification is something like, well, you know, Japan and Russia had such good relations, even though they were enemies in World War II, but they were making contracts. And even at like the end of the Cold War, when Soviet was about to fall, the leader of the Soviet Union went to Japan, and they were like all chillin' buddy, and like they seemed to like they made deals where Russia just like gave so much like fishing rights to Japan, and it seems like for no reason. And the idea is that what was happening is Japan was going to this place to fish, and it was giving the fish to the Russians to distribute amongst their poor people. Oh, no, but you know, there's also another thing, like there's another like evidence for this. Finnish people make up less than 1% of the world's population. Any good geographical, socio-political like survey has more than a 1% like variance rate, you know, like the idea that they could be off by like 1%. So there is a chance, there's a chance in that variance rate of like 1% that Finland could not exist. How do I know these things? Because I get bored on the internet and I Google. That's what I used to do when I was in college. I'd go in and I'd just sit on the computer, Google random shit. Still passed, still graduated, so hey, you know. Anyways, nobody got it. Just me. Nobody's as chronically online as I am. That's right, chat. If anyone's a real boy failure, it's me. I mean, like, it makes no sense. It's stupid, but hey. That's just a theory. A game theory. Thanks for watching. Okay, let's see if this works. Y'all can hear that, right? Y'all can hear that annoying fucking button that doesn't do anything? God damn it. All right. Sorry. We're going back in that southern voice. This is exactly what you needed, all right? Yeah, so here's what we're doing. We're lowering the volume here a little bit. I'm so annoyed with this game already, though, by the way, because you see this button? You can assume what this button does. Oh, shit. All right, so that works. This button here? This button here, I go in here? We're going to click it? Nothing. Yeah, I ain't got a clue what that was supposed to do. Gene, redeem? I'm doing the redeem. What do you mean, Silas? What redeem? What redeem? Silas, you want to fight me? You want to go? You want to rock? You want to dance? I'm gonna beat you up right now. You and me. Let's go. And let's see we go. Oh shit! This ain't the first level, is it? Wait, this is 2-player. Pits. I'm so confused. It's right. Oh shit! The game's gone now. Anyways, chat, stream's over. Bye. All right. Hello. Hi, Maple Donut. Maple, you are an absolute sweetie. You live up to your name being so scrumptious. You're filled with delicious filling, I'm assuming. But you are wonderful. You're cute. You're adorable. I love seeing you here on stream. I really do appreciate you. Thank you so much for being a wonderful little member of my community, all right? Thank you. The maple donut. Of course they're delicious. All right, here we go, chat. I got this. Well, shit. I don't know. Don't ask me to understand the things that I say, chat. Donuts are delicious. Aha, they try to get me. They ain't never gonna get me. I'm too good at this game. Oh, shit. All right, here we go. Well. Oh, God. I'm filled. Oh, hey, yo. There it is. Chat, he's just a yapper. I'm just a yapper, chat. I am just a yapper. You can't hold anything against me. I'm just a yapper. Oh, God. I don't want to dance with you. What do you mean, dance? Oh, we're dancing. Oh. I don't ever want to dance again. Wait. Did I just jump off a wall? Hey, yo, chat, is jumping off a wall an option? Gene, who am I talking to? Why am I talking to myself? Yo, Gene, did you know you're short? I'm not short, god damn it. I am not short, Gene. But Gene, chat just called you short. Well, yeah, but chat likes to lie to you. Alright, but what if they ain't lying this time? What if it's the truth? You think chat tells the truth? I mean, I don't know, they could, hypothetically. Really? You think that's likely? Well, who knows? Who knows? Chat wouldn't lie too often, right? Alright, cool. Anyways, hi, chat. How you doing? Oh, my hands. Chat, they stole my fucking hands. Chat, they stole my fucking hands. Chat, my hands. All right, here we go, chat. Wait, why ain't it work? There are my hands. I found my hands, chat. We're good. We're good. Maple, you got some cute emotes. You know that? Gene, I said dance. All right, what's dancing? Ding, 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 ding. Oh God, they're coming for me. He's talking to himself. I mean, chat, it's not like y'all gonna talk to me. I better talk to myself, huh? Your hand license has been revoked. Is that a new thing they're doing in England? Oh shit! Oh shit! Oh shit! Hello, we see you've been we see you been gooning to porn. So we've decided to revoke your hand license. No hands for you. Well, damn. You ain't allowed hands. Oh, Jesus. Hello, filthy fanga. Hello, Fifi. Cat. I mean, who is the most applicable person here except Fifi? Can we get out a little shout out for Fifi? I mean, out of anybody, we're going to be talking about gooning and suffering underneath the new British regulations. Fifi's got to be suffering more than most. I've seen your Twitter, girl. I have seen that Twitter. Oh, shit. He's made of jeans, so joints. He's Fifi. Yeah, filthy fangirl. See, chat, are you not caught up on your most recent filthy fangirl lore? Jorkin. Straight Jorkin. Which, chat, I'm a little scared. I don't know what's gonna happen if we were ever to get in a situation where the America's like, hey, yo, ain't no more porn. I don't know what I'm gonna do about that. Not saying I watch a lot, but, you know. How dare they? La la la. What do you mean, fucking finally? A true Guna don't need hands to goon. What do you mean by that? What do you mean by that? What are we doing? How you doing it? Walk me through the steps here. No, I need a step-by-step explanation of how you doing it hands-free. Because gooning implies, you know, self-enjoyment. Oh shit. Alright. Wait, there it is, I knew it. I was gonna go say, damn it. Doll, Jorkin assistant, Bluetooth gooning. Don't ask questions unless you want a demonstration. I mean, girly. Oh, okay. Here we go. Oh, yeah. All right. Yeah, I should have seen that one coming. Yeah. Amazing. I was gonna say something. My brain has gone completely Bluetooth. Y'all. I mean, who knows? Chat, give me a second. I gotta think. Wait, I almost got this. Wait. Damn it. Didn't work. All right. Well, use that penny head of yours. Oh, Fifi. What am I supposed to use in it? There ain't nothing in it. It's empty. Oh, I can stop the southern voice. Back to normal, chat. Huh? I did it. I'm so good at this. I've ghost gooning. Hey, yo, Fifi. that wasn't fair. Wait. GG, Ghost Goon. There we go. Ghost Goon, amazing. Amazing chat. Oh no, oh no, oh no, oh no, oh no, oh no. Okay, we're good. Okay. The Phantom Drawer technique. I'm a motherfucker! Alright, I'm gonna focus on chat for a little bit. What are we demonstrating? I mean, we could get graphs. Yeah, exactly. No. Damn it. Silas, I need you to draw me out. Why am I doing Southern voice? Silas, I'm gonna need you to draw me out a graph, please. There it is. Perfect. I really am a I really am a ghost. I'm not just a gooner. It's true. It's true. Though I would think it's yes. Oh, you can't even see. Give me a second, chat. I'm hiding the screen. We're just gonna okay, we're gonna I'm still covering myself. Don't worry about it. No, I've not started raging. I don't rage. I don't rage ever, chat. There's no rage in Okay, we got this. We got this. Yes. Yes. I would love to see a VTuber who's Hi, Sophie. Thank you for the bits. How you doing? I would love to see a VTuber who's just a gooner. That's their fuck. Where's the jumping? You're kidding. Thank you, though, Sophie. I really appreciate it. What is this? What is this, chat? Why? Why are the spikes jumping? I mean, I'm sorry. I'm happy. I'm lovely. Sorry. Calm. Calm. Collected. ASMR. Fucking. Where did you come from? Sorry. We're good. We're good. Calm. Calm. Fine. Haha. Yes. Amazing. Lovely. There it is. Haha. Hey! Thank you, Lily Dragon. Welcome, 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 welcome. Hope you enjoy your time here. Okay. Haha. You thought you fuck. I got this. I got this. We're doing amazing. Ha! Fucking hell! Gooner. I want to see a VTuber who's just a gooner. Okay, that's the entire theme. Maybe they're a goon. Maybe they're a villain who goons and they're also hot. There's the joke. Go draw porn of it now. All right, back to the game. There we go. I got it. I did it. Hi, Pinky. Lovely to see you. Oh, fucking... Project Melody exists? No, but they're not like I want a villain. I want a villain goon. Like not only a goon, like a goon that goons, you know? Damn, okay. Hi, Ross Cloud. Yes, thank you for giving a shout out to Pinky. Pinky's also very, 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 very cool. I love them. I think G forgot. Silas, I do not forget you exist. I just lose. Attention, edgy goon. Exactly, an edgy goon. An edgy goon who goons edgingly. I have this. Okay, we're good. An edgy goon who edges and goons. There we go. Haha, haha, ha! Fuck! This is a straight line, by the way, chat. Haha, there we go. We got this. Amazing. By the way, how's everybody doing today? I hope everybody's doing amazing. I hope you're having a lovely, lovely day. And that nothing crazy's happened to you. You motherfuckers, I should have seen that coming. Hey, Keeper, thank you for the bits. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I really, really, really do appreciate this. Mind Gene, Silas, who are you? You're an incubus. But you're not a goon. You're not a goon. Even if you are a sexy person whose thing is being sexy, I need a goon. I need you to be a henchman, okay? Oh, what'd you have for dinner? Can chill and watch. Nice. Oh, shit. Oh, I got this, chat. Ha-ha, 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 damn it. There it is. There it is. There it is. Ha, 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 ha! Oh, I love chorizo. That was your day. Why were you in a car for so long? Did you at least have a fun time? No, 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 no. I mean, okay. A goon... I'm going to explain the joke. A goon is also another term for a henchman to a villain. And so unless you're a villain's henchman, you're not a goon and gooner. Okay? This is important. The joke only works... The joke only works if you are both a villain's henchman and hot and gooning. It's very important you need to be all three of these things. Okay? You understand? Good. 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 Oh, sorry. Yes. Hi, Pinky. Pinky, you are such a lovely streamer. You are a lovely fucking frog. A lovely frog who is just wonderful to be with, to talk to hang out with. And you're just great. You're a wonderful personality. I think you're really, really cool. I appreciate you so very, 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 very much. And thank you for being as amazing as you are. Mwah. You deserve all the love in the world. A gluten intolerant? Why gluten intolerant? Explain to me. Well, fuck. Do you want a goon and gluten goo? Shit. What do we do here? Is it... Well, okay. Okay, there was just no way for me to know. Whoa. That's fair, Moxie. Oh, I'm glad you're here. Keeper apologizes for the pain you're going through right now. Me? What pain am I going through? Oh, because you paid for the game. That's right. Yeah. No group gooning, chat. No group gooning. We are innocent say-so VTubers here. We're innocent. We're clean. We're wholesome motherfuckers. Sorry, I'm gonna try to. Aren't we? Oh well. Yeah, here comes. All right, I have this. Group gooning is team building? I don't think it is. I don't think it is. Moxie, I don't know. Why do they do anything? Why do I get bullied all the time? You know, there's a question. Why does Champ bully me all the time? Huh? Wholesome mother. I'll make the merch, chat. I'll make the merch. You do not have a guest floor on the second bedroom. You can't just claim your guest room's on the second floor. You can have the guest room. It's still in the basement. Because you can? That's actually kind of valid and fair. Evil. Not falling for it, you evil little thing. I almost missed that. Alright, here we go. Skew! Excuse me, bastards. Hi, thank you for the follow. Welcome, 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 Lori. Lori. I'm gonna need you to. I need you to walk me through your name, please. Oh, these evil motherfuckers. Lori. Yee? Am I right? Silas, you're not chained right now. You'll be chained later. Don't worry. You just be in the basement for now. Lori E. Yee. Lori. I like your name. It's just no. Damn it. I don't know. There's not a lot of flavoring to raw meat, so I think that's why people think it's gross. Maybe if raw meat had more, like, seasoning in it, people wouldn't think it's gross. Oh, this is awful. Why'd I have a bad feeling about this, chat? I knew it. I knew it! 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Hey, damn it! 1, 2, 3. Ah! Hi, Boyden. How you doing? Okay. This makes sense somehow. There is logic. Ah, fucking... I figured it out. Okay, we're good. I understand. Ask question. Why am I homeless again? Who said you're homeless again? Okay. Vanya, you're back in the walls. I have wall space for you again. I already filled it recently. You're okay. Yes. We did it. This game's anxiety inducing. Oh no. I'll say it's not that bad until, you know, they have this. Okay, wait. Logic. Here. Ha! I'm doing amazing. Chat, I just keep you blindfolded. How else do I do it? Well, you can serve me. That's... why am I getting tall? He just got tall. No. Imagine this happens to you. You have a phobia of basements? Okay, you can live in the pantry for now. For now. No. Okay. Tiny. Be smart, chat. Be smart with me. No! Alright, give me a second while I stay small. So here's the plane. You see that little ledge? No! Of course, Amethyst. You go right in the basement. Go straight in the basement. Chat, actually, you know what? I'm just building a larger basement. Wait. Chat, I'm keeping my... I just figured it out. Aha! Yes. Oh, well, get some sleep. Keeper, relax. Get some good sleeps. I'm wide. Is the basement dark? No. It's bright right now. Until I turn off the light. You'll be fine, though. Why are we in the basement? Because I don't want you to leave the basement, chat. Chat, I'm trying to be internet a celebrity. I gotta keep you in the basement. We're wide. Look how fucking wide. It is a cold basement. Yeah, I'm sorry. But I'll give you blankets, okay? Oh, God. Alright, chat. This is the plan. Oh, evil. Okay. It's so panic-inducing. Enjoy your Korean barbecue. Bring me back some. I would really, really, really appreciate it. Do we get a purple blanket? You can have a... Why purple? Fucking you bastard! Would you... No! Hey! Hey! Hey, look... No, no, you stay right... Oh my god, Jeff! You're fucking... Okay. Chat, this is you as a door. I hope you know that. Ah, dodged. Okay. Hello, little alien. How you doing, sweetie? Little alien. You do amazing cosplays. You have such an incredible voice, and you're just such a wonderfully fun person to chat to. I was going to say something else, and I immediately forgot. You're fun to bully, and you bring such wonderful energy to the stream. I'm so glad that you found this community, because this community is a better place with you in it. Thank you so much for the redeem. Should I send you in the clip? The clip of what? What clip? Yeah. Oh. Huh. Huh. Interesting. Okay. Oh no. Oh no. Oh no. Oh no. Oh no. Oh no. Hello. Hello. I'm loving this. I don't hate anybody, chat. I hate nobody. Even people who hate me, I do not hate. I'm incapable of that much hate, chat. Trust me. A cup of embarrassment. Whose embarrassment? My embarrassment or your embarrassment? No. No! Okay. Sprint, motherfucker. Faster. Faster! Oh, good. Good, good, good. I'd love to see your embarrassment. Okay, well, look. I don't hate the man who made the Big Mac. I just hate the fact that the Big Mac exists. You know? I missed. Okay, come on. Faster, you damn short-ass leg motherfucker. Look at you with your tiny-ass legs. If you weren't short, this wouldn't be a problem. See? Grow a little bit. This is what happens when short people try to survive in the wild. Fuck! I'm not a cat. I'm not a cat. I'm not a dog. How dare short people try... I don't hate short people. I'm just amazed. I fucked up. There it is. I love short people. I love short people. You know, I love to have my entire apartment based around the idea that short people can't reach anything. Why am I the door? Why am I the door? Yes, no, this place is entirely built around the fact that short people can't survive here without my assistance. Ha! That sounds so toxic. Yeah, I know. I even make the shelves tall. Yeah. Oh. Okay. Ah! Okay, here we go. It's gonna... Oh, knew it! I knew it! Hey, Maple! Thank you for the bits! Okay, fine. Maple, I'll make sure that you can eat. Ow. I appreciate it. Thank you so much. That's a lot of bits. I really appreciate that. Thank you. You'll climb my walls. How are you gonna climb my walls? Shit. Chat, it's coming. I can feel. Oh, fucking. Okay. Okay, we got this. We got this. Can I eat, Gene? Remember, I'm your birthstone. You. Okay, fine. I'll let you eat too. Huh. Everybody else must fight for food. Damn it! you crafty little motherfuckers. You're Spider-Man. Prove it right now. What'd you say? Auric acid reflux. Oh no! What's going on, Vanya? I actually do have an entire large pepperoni pizza in the fridge. If anybody wants that, you can have it. It is extra large. It's delicious. It's really good, actually. Thank you, thank you. Don't worry about it. Hype train, what the fuck? Silas, thank you so much for the gifted subs. Jesus. Thank you, 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 Silas. I really appreciate it. That's crazy. Wait. Oh my god, chat. Clever bastards. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, Silas. I do really, really, really appreciate it. I hope you know that. You've gifted so many subs to this channel. This channel surviving on the generosity of Silas right now. And Vanya. And so many other one of you. Actually, you know what? You guys have given me a lot. I really do appreciate it. I hope you know that, okay? Like, it's not just any one person. That you all are just very incredible people. I do appreciate it so much. Your tummy hurt? I'm sorry. Chat, every button kills me. Oh my god, it's Flappy Bird. Do y'all remember Flappy Bird? Vanya, thank you for the bits! Vanya, thank you, 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 thank you. It's Flappy Bird, chat. Thank you, Venus. Thank you, too. I really, 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 really appreciate it. Thank you. What should I do? I have a bad feeling about this chat. Oh, of course. It's more Flappy Bird. Here we go. Oh, shit. Okay. No, so we need to do this. We go here. Need to hit this button here. 1 second, chat. Oh, you bastard. Why do I have $5 in my name? I'm cooked. Well, I'm glad you have $5. You should spend the $5 on a $5 footlong that doesn't exist anymore. Which is so annoying, by the way. Subway gets famous for doing one thing, a $5 footlong, and what do they get rid of? The $5 footlong. Red or black? Red. Bet it all on red. I do have a skill issue. I do have a skill issue, it's true. Hey, hee-hoo, ha, 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 ha. Come on. Come on. No, 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 no! I ran out of juice. Wait, is there only so many I can do? Ah, yes. Frosty and fries? Big Mac. No, no Big Mac. Don't get a Big Mac. You need to get a Frosty. You need to get a Frosty. Go to Wendy's. Get some Wendy's, okay? Okay, chat. Wendy's. Wendy's. Wendy's is better. Thank you for the bits. Thank you, Sophie. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. Eat the cookie dough. Eat the cookie dough right now. Eat the cookie dough right now. You've never had Wendy's? There's no way you haven't had Wendy's. Really? You've not had their famous square patties? Fresh, never frozen beef? Chocolate Frosties? Wendy's isn't in France? Leave France. Come to America. Chat, everybody come visit me. You can all sleep on my couch together in a big pile. Thank you for the hype train, chat. Oh, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. I missed. Chat, I went through all of that and I still missed. Yeah, go to Wendy's. Get a Baconator. If you like a lot of meat. If you're not a big fan of meat, if they still have the pretzel burger, that one was really good. The Bavarian pretzel burger. And then, if you don't like that, just get like a Dave single or something. Or they might still have the biggie bag that has nuggets and everything, and their nuggets are pretty good. And there we go. Definitely. We'll play Mario Kart together. I suck at Mario Kart, by the way. I will lose every game. Dave Single. Dave is the guy who runs Wendy, or who... the founder of Wendy's. Wendy's nuts rest on your chin. Sorry. Hello! Singing Ember. How you doing? How you doing? Do you sing? Yeah. Yeah, I'm missing something here. There's something I'm not understanding. I missed. Okay. Ah! Ha 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 ha! Oh! Hey, yo. I don't know what happened there. We did it, chat. Amazing. Well, singing Ember, I want to hear you sing. Sing right now. Sing in chat right now. Let me hear it. I'm ready. You should have kept your money. That's fair. Happy birthday to you. Good song, good song, good choice. Oh, wait, is this one of these? Ah, shit. Okay. Yes. Good song though. Really proud of you. It's gonna do something. Which one of these is gonna do something? Which one is it gonna be? Which one is it gonna be? You thought you had me. Oh shit, oh shit, oh shit. No. Ah! Ernest, the outlets on the bus aren't working? Oh no. Ernest. Shit, I looked away, chat. Nerd. Won that one. I don't know what you're talking about, chat. It totally didn't have me. It totally didn't have me. I was doing amazing. Look how good I am at this game. Yeah. Aha. Easy. Oh, you. Lily, thank you for the hydrate. Cheers. Heads up, chat. Ads begin in about 5 minutes. If you'd like to avoid ever having ads, you can sub. You can be a sub, be a submissive, be a little wimpy boy who listens to everything I say. No, if you would like to not have advertisements, you can sub to LuckyJene. Shit. Bye, Pinky. So good at talking. I know, chat. I'm the best at talking. Nobody talks better than me. Everybody says it. Everybody says I'm the best at talking. They all say it. I've been tested by my peers. I had an exam done. The greatest test. Smartest. Shut up, la the little alien. You do not have enough for all of... Oh, well. No, I'm sorry. If you are a sub or you have Amazon Prime, you can become a sub to this lovely stream. And that way you won't have advertisements, okay? Ever again. No ads for you. Oh no. What lock are you picking? What lock are you picking? He's a certified yapper. I'm a certified freak, 7 days a week. Wet ass pussy. Keep that. Pull it out. Pull out. Damn it! I'm never expecting it. Every single time it gets me in a different way. No. If you're a fellow broke boy, Amazon Prime can be as cheap as $6 a month, so you can have Prime and a Prime sub. Exactly, chat. Mitchie! Venus, thank you for gifting the sub. Thank you. Greatly. Oh, fuck. Exactly. Amazon Prime can be cheaper for you based on what country you're in. Remember that, chat. Remember, if you buy subscriptions in certain countries, they are actually cheaper. What the fuck? Why are you invisible? Don't be invisible. That's not fair. That's not fair. I'm proud of you. Cult. Chat, don't forget to say your cult blessings. Please do 10 cult Hail Marys. Ah! Help! 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 Our jar of garlic, our gar of jarlic, holy be thy name. There it is. No bad feeling about this. Oh, motherfucking, I knew it. Gar of jarlic. Did I join another cult? I mean... Look, honestly, it was gonna happen eventually. You should just kind of accepted that. Jump in circles? Yeah, chat, jump in circles. Yeah, woo. Shabba! Boy, I am fast as fuck. Oh, no. No! Grab that. We got the chat. You are a Subway sub. It did. Oh. I was hoping. I was preying on your downfall, Gene. I was hoping you'd have a horrible experience, Gene. I was hoping you would cry and shit yourself to sleep tonight. Yes. Well, don't worry. I'm not gonna cry. Huh? Huh? Oh, you bastards! You bastards! There it is. You're so right. Wanted to pass time? Oh, well. Yeah, you know, sometimes you just... No, what the fuck is this? What the fuck is this? I mean, look at this guy. Why is he so heavy? Who feed him brick? Who feed him brick? Chat, raise hand if you feed him brick. Which one of you got him bricked up? Put the hand down. Damn. Fuck. He just too much brick. It's wall candy. He just so heavy. Look how heavy he is. He's a little fat boy. Look at the little fat boy jump. Look at his little fat boy legs. Look at him. He's just like, oh, I'm so fat. Nobody loves me. It's true. Hate you, fat boy. I see. Vanya, not everything is about you, Vanya. I'm sorry to tell you this. Might be hard to hear, but not everything is about you. Except when it is about you. And this time, it could be. But it is not. Though it could be. Oh, God. That little guy is you? You just a little guy? Oh, fat little freak. Hello, Brit Smokes. How you doing? How you doing? How you doing? Oh, shit. Okay, well. Oh, hello. Look. Hypothetically death. You motherfucker, I called it. Sebastian McKill. I don't know who that is. Who's Sebastian? Wait, you talking about the guy from the game we were playing? I'm not ready for the British thing of the day. Fair point, fair point. Tell me about it. No, here we go. Alright, we're gonna go down here. A little bit further. Oh shit. Thank you for the gift sub. Oh, you already gave me the gift sub. Thank you for the gift sub anyways. Aha. Easy. When are we getting a 5-minute British accent when I learn how to do a British accent? And that's when. Bastard. You want a nonce? I do. I've heard the term nonce. I can't tell you exactly what it means, but I have heard the term nonce. Ah, shit. Okay. Aha. Oh, shit. Don't let me die. Don't let me die. Fall. Ha. Lord and Savior. Keep doing it, Hidori. I believe in you. You got this. One day you'll nail it. Motherfucker. Just say fuck between each word. I do that enough as it is. Mwah. Okay, here we go. Aha. Chat, I'm a genius. Aha. Chat, I'm not a genius. Help! Help me, chat! Oh, we're good. We're good. We're good. We're good. No. Oh! We're doing fine. We're doing fine, chat. All right. Big smarts. Don't kill me. Don't kill me. You bastard. You bastard. Mwah. All right, here we go again. Everybody, we back for this? Oh shit, no shit, here it goes, Don't you dare, stay back there. All right, we got this one. Have a cup of tea. All right. So, well, I ain't got no tea right now. Ah, shit. Here it comes again. I mean, I probably have some sort of tea, but hey. Yes, yes, I knew you were doing that, you little clever little thing. Goddamn. I know you do, Moxie. Mwah. Lots of kisses for everybody here. Let me drink some water real quick. Give me a second, even though nobody's asked me to hydrate since 10 minutes ago. Chat, 1 second. I'll be right back in a sec. And we're back. Sorry about that. We didn't miss me too much. It's time for the boss time. It's time for the boss time. Oh, yeah? I bet you do, Ari. What's up, Brit Smokes? Well, what do I do here? I got a feeling. Oh, come on. Let me out of this place. All I want to do is get in this stupid... You bastards. Let me touch the teleporter. You. There it is. You think you're clever. Oh, don't you? Y'all think you're so smart. Let me over there. No. That's right. You! Oh. All right. Come here, Sophie. Come here, Sophie. Sophie. Sophia. You're such a good girl, aren't you? Always such a wonderful good girl. You know, I appreciate you so very, very much. Thank you for the redeem. Hi, Lisa. How you doing, sweetie? How that partner push coming? Oh, shit. Not this again. You ain't getting me this time. No. Damn it. I forgot. Oh, shit. All right. Here we go. 1 second. Ooh. Oh, whoa. Nuzzles on your necky wecky. Sorry. I'm gonna stop that. That was more than I needed to do. That is. Yeah, you ain't. Yeah, You thought you were gonna be clever this time, huh? There we're grabbing this, we're grabbing that. Why would that one blow me up? Why would that one of all things? Why? Explain that one to me. Chat, why is this? Yeah. Why? Why would that? Redeem avoidance. See, what do you want to redeem? What do you want to redeem? Yeah. Oh, it's you. There it is. We got it. Shit. Am I still in Southern voice? Give me a second. All right. Arf, arf. I'm such a cute little puppy. Hate that. How dare you? Got it. I'm dying, chat. I'm John. I got the TB. The TB back. Yeah, here goes. Straight in, straight out, straight in. Nailed it. I love that. Why do you love it? You should try hating it a little bit. Maybe get some hate in your heart. No, why am I shaking? What do you mean? All right, chat, we're running. Look at my little legs. Look at them being little and stupid. Little and still a little stupid guy. He's so stupid and little, he's gonna die. That's what you get for being stupid and little. Shit. Shit. What if I go? Shit. Chad, there ain't no way. Thank you for the follow, Luna-chan. Welcome, 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 welcome. Are we still stuck in Southern? Can I drop this yet? Okay, we can drop it. Wait, Hydrate's out of stock? Hydrate's out of stock? Well, how's Hydrate? Okay, well. That's fair. I'll fix that later. Thank you for telling me. How you doing, Luna? How's your night going? Yeah. Run, 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 run. You can do it. Watch your little legs. Make them run. Go faster. What is that noise? Ah! Oh, we did it. Hi, Carlist. How you doing? You got jump scared by a streamer's game. What game? Me? Did I scare you? What do you mean I need 5 keys? What do you mean I need 5 keys? What game were you playing? What game was it? Chat, the game closed itself. There you go. Here we go. More levels. I know, chat. Apparently I need to be... Holy shit, holy shit, holy shit, holy shit. No, 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 no. 1, 2. You got it. Amazing. It was called Quiet Still. Oh no, I'm sorry you fell off the couch. That's kind of adorable though. I hope you're doing okay now. Yeah. Shit. Bro be ballin'. Bro be ballin'. Yes. We did it. I'm sorry, chat. So I had to see my balls this way. Oh no, oh no, oh no. There we go. Bald part 2. Glad you're good. You just stabbed yourself with a needle. Don't stab yourself with a needle. Why are you stabbing yourself with a... Fuck you. Fuck you, door. Yeah. Yes. Amazing. So the balls act as solid objects. Ah! Hi, Spell. How you doing, sweetie? There it is. No, I forgot. That was bad. That's dumb. That's stupid. I'm stupid. Fuck. Chat, I'm so chill. I'm so calm. So let me go back to the ASMR style. We're just going to be relaxed here. Nice and chill. Nice and calm. I'd love some Chinese food. Chinese food's amazing. Please give me some Chinese food. What the fuck? Oh. I can move blocks. It's kind of cool. Okay, I dig it. Anyways. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, you think you slick, don't you? Okay. Okay. I'm so nonchalant, thank you. I'm so nonchalant. I'm so mellow. I'm one of those, like, nonchalant guys who's just, you know... I'm just so nonchalant with it. I'm sorry. Ah! Ha! 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 The silence. What silence? Don't worry about the silence. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Uh-huh. A nonchalant dreadhead? Yeah, exactly. Yo, I'm just chill. I'm chill. I'm chile. I'm so chills. I'm chills maxin'. I'm homie chill. Chill max. I don't know what I'm saying anymore, chat. I give up. It's fine. If I don't know what I'm saying, then chat can't know what I'm saying, and then nobody can judge me. Hey, oh, you think that was clever? I'm chill. We're chill. We're chill here. We're Chile. Exactly, Chile. We're a meat dish with beans and spicy. Oh, I'm so happy that happened. Makes me so happy that happened. I have not said I hate Voiden. Why? Where did this? Where'd this dialogue of me hating Voiden come from? Well, I don't hate anybody. Chat, why would I hate you? Chat, why would I hate you? Chat, why would I hate you? Yeah, exactly, chat. I'm Chilean. The country Chile. Chilean? They're sorry. Chat, why is my Mpreg? Why is my Mpreg your #1 used emote? I bet he hates poor people. What is... Oh, thank God. What is this? Chat, I'm anti-capitalist, so yeah. Why would I hate poor people? Hmm. There we go. It's the best emote. Is it? Is it the best emote? What homeless guy did I bully? Why would I bully a homeless guy? Hey, Toxic Skunky. Thank you for the raid. Welcome. How you doing? How was stream? What were you streaming? Can we get a little shout out for our man here? Aha! Hello, Raiders. Hello. Oh, by the way, hi, my name's LuckyJene. I'm a gambler, a writer, a flirt. Mostly, though, just a boy failure these days because I'm bad at video games. Why am I bad at video games? Don't ask me. No shit. I don't know anything. But yes, how are you? What are you streaming? Rika? What's Rika? Shit, I need to go look what that is now. Give me a second. We're looking this up. Chat, we're being distracted, chat. Rika? Oh, this game. Oh, this looks sick. Oh, this looks so sick. Chat. Wait, where is it? Oh, I'm sorry, chat. I'm struggling here. Aha. Ah. Look at that chat. Look at this. Look at this. Look at it. Look at it. Look at the motherfucking house with chicken legs. It's the Baba Yaga. Chat, be careful. It's John Wick. Mm-hmm. I like it. But Chad, it's not coming until 2004, so we can't play it. We have to wait until 2004 to play it, chat. Sorry. Yeah, we can't play it until 2024. Sorry, 2024, you're right. We gotta wait until 2024. We're looking at a game. Chat, I know we missed it, Hidori. We can't play it anymore. The time is too late. We have to go back in time, chat. Like, through the power of magic and belief, you too can be as delusional as I am. Chicken house. But anyways, thank you so much for the raid, Toxic. I hope you had a lovely, lovely stream. If you need to raid and run, feel free to do so. If you want to hang out, feel free to do so as well. I promise to take care of your lovely, lovely community. I will only keep them locked in my basement a little bit. Only a little bit. And through the power of friendship, anything is possible. I mean, guys, together, you and I, we can believe in anything. All you have to do is believe in friendship, and then anything is possible. Anyways. Okay, My Little Pony. No, it's My Little Pony. It's not Your Little Pony. I'm not letting you out of the basement. No, that's... What do you mean? You sneaky sandwiches. You sneaky sandwich. You sneaky... Ah, you think you got me? I don't know. No, your voice is harsh right now. Oh, I'm sorry to hear that. I hope your voice gets better. If this falls, I'm gonna be so angry. No, haha. They thought they were clever, but little did they know the one who was clever is me. 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 What are you doing? Why are we doing this? No. All right, sleep well, sleep well. Wait, it will with some rest. Slow that. Okay, good. Yes. You rest. That sounds smelly. Yeah, don't shit my walls. Don't shit my walls. Why would you? Why? Why would you do this? Oh, fuck. Aha! Okay, we do this. A little smarty pants move here. Okay, we swallow this. We're hitting this button. We're waiting. We're hitting this button. We're gonna hit that button. Yes. Shit his closet. No, shit my closet. Why are you? Y'all. Up we go. Up we go. What are we doing here? What are we doing here? What are we doing? Yeah. Ow. Okay, down. Up. Come on. Let's do it. Swoop. Amazing. Swoop. Okay, perfect. Don't grow. Stop growing. Service back. Welcome back, little alien. I hope you're having a good bus trip. I think you're having a bus trip, right? No, what the fuck? Wait a second. Oh my god, chat. It's like, yeah, oh, yeah, huh, huh. I got this. Fall asleep on Jean's clothes, so he can't go outside no more. Chat, I thought you wanted me to touch grass. What happened to you wanting me to touch grass? Is that not true anymore? Stinky. Mwah. Mwah. Thank you for the kiss. Chat, I think it's one of my favorite things is when you guys say sniff. Ah! Mwah. I don't know, Desi. Why are you smelly? You ever think about that one, huh? I don't know why I like it when you say sniff. I just think it's goofy. Someone stinks here. Which one of you is it? Which one of you smells bad? Which one of you is a smelly boy? Raise your hand if you smell. It's me. I can't smell me. My nose is too stuffed up. Smell like roses? Smelly roses. A smelly rose that smells smelly. Isn't that right? No. Do you smell like peaches? It gets me every time. Chat, we got this, we got this. We're gonna go this way. We're gonna go. Aha. Aha! You thought you could defeat me? But with the power of my genius mind. Oh, fuck. Fuck, fuck, fuck. Yes! Okay, there we go. What are you cooking up? Stinky Jean? I do not stink. I say, oh. You got some Undertale shit right there. By the way, chat, should I play Undertale? Should I do Undertale at some point? Chat, would you still like me if I didn't like Undertale? I think I'll like Undertale, but what if I don't? Will you still love me? Shit. Maybe, yeah, you'll still love me, Gene. I'll lick you'll lick me. I'm kidding. You're kidding you'd like me. Oh, no, you're kidding you wouldn't like me. Okay. Never played it. Okay. Wait, if you want to hear about pregnant sands, what do you mean pregnant sands? What just happened? Ah, okay. So we hit this button. We go in the corner. Aha! I figured it out, chat. I'm so smart. Watch this. Wait. Is there actually pregnant sands in Undertale? So I'm assuming I have to play Undertale first before playing Deltarune, right? We've done this level before. Chat, I'm redoing levels. Shit. I'm so sorry. The amount of AU is staggering. Fair enough. What the fuck? No, you... that was mean. Don't you dare. It's illegal to crime. You're not allowed crime in this neighborhood. Chat, we don't... yeah. We don't allow crime in this neighborhood. This is a crime-free street, chat. But you like committing crime. Well, you know, I didn't consider that. If you like committing crime, I guess you can commit a little crime. It's only small crime, though, okay? You can rob a mouse. Or a child. They matter about the same amount. I'm kidding, chat. Don't rob children. And chat, don't cancel me for robbing. Ah, fuck! When I rob 500 children, that's a large crime against a small populace. So that's about a medium crime. And we're against medium crime. Undertale looks fun, though. There we go. I don't want to be small and slow. I feel like Vanya again. Oh, no. If you rob a mean child, I think robbing a mean child is okay. As long as the children are, like, evil. You're allowed to rob as many evil children as you want. Like, if the child's gonna commit future genocide, you're allowed to just, like, kick that child. That's ethics in a nutshell for you! Can I rob Gene? Please don't. I don't have a lot of money as it is. It's based off of a perception from a book. I'm not going to tell you what book it is. But you're going to just have to hope you find the right book, and then you can base all your morality off of it, okay? Hello, Chubda Croco. How you doing? How you doing? I blew myself up. I blew myself, chat. Am I gonna hit you? Flexible. It was a reference, chat. It was a reference. You know that show where the guy becomes blue and he goes, I blew myself? Yeah. That's what I'm referencing, chat. God, chat, it's like you don't even know me sometimes. There it is. And licorice? Why licorice? Why licorice? Out of all the things you could tie me up with, why licorice? Come on, give me some good... oh yeah, it's fully built, chat. It's me, Mario. I'm a-coming to get... Oh. It's me, Mario. I'm a... Oh, shit. I'm a-coming to get underestimated. Okay, wait. Boom, 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 boom. Okay, I'm not understanding this. No, here we go. Okay. I understood it now, chat. Oh. Okay. Oh, we're gonna finish off this one here. These 5 rounds. I think I'm getting. Oh, I'm getting sweaty. I'm getting sweaty here, trying to figure out these things. It's taking too much brains. Shit. You can't spell? That's fair. Chat, spelling is now a crime. Spelling is a crime, chat. I hope you know. Doing spells, no, writing things is a crime. Oh, shit. Yeah. Chat, no writing. Only emojis. Only emojis now. I need only emotes. For like the next 3 seconds. 10 seconds. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Beautiful. Gorgeous. Thank you, Vanya. You can turn it back to normal now. Proud of all, you did amazing. Bastard. Lumen cake. And we did it. Why are we talking about jobs again? Chat, have you guys started to do your job applications yet? Thank you for the hydrate and stretch. Thank you. Chat, you started applying for jobs, right? Y'all want me to look at your resume? I'll look at your resume with you. We'll talk about 401ks. We'll get you on health insurance. Should we talk about like a 10-year plan on where you see yourself? What do you think, chat? Oh, I blew up. Well, see, some of you are doing amazing. Oof, I'm so sorry to hear that, Sophie. That is rough. Ah, yes, I made it. Well, you need more healthcare, chat. Alright, chat, we're gonna take a little break here. We're gonna be coming up on the end of stream in about, like, 16 minutes, so I say we just vibe for a little bit, okay? Gotta take my final goodbye. Okay, Ross Clay, you be good, you be good. Have fun, have fun, have fun. You're pretty good healthcare. God, I'm jealous, chat. I'm gonna be honest, I have no health insurance. Because hear me out, chat. I only go to the doctor when I have something wrong with me, okay? Because, you know, I don't really have the time to go otherwise. And, Desi, I'd love that. And, like, so I also, like, you know, the only thing I really need, like, healthcare for is my, like, weekly psychiatry appointment. So I could get a psychiatrist, okay? I could get a psychiatrist. And I could go, you know, to, Hi, thank you for a follow, Titan. How you doing? Actually, let's swap to just chatting for a little while. Just chatting. Okay, so hear me out. I could go to the psychiatrist, which cost me like $120 a month, okay? Or I could go to with insurance, where it would cost me $80 a month, but the insurance cost me $200 a paycheck, okay? So, so that'd be $400 for the insurance a month minimum, maybe $600, and on top of that, another $50 to get the psychiatric help. Or I could just pay $120 per appointment. So why would I have insurance? Because it's more expensive to pay for insurance. Anyways, this is for Ari. Ari, sweetie. My lovely, lovely little lawyer. You are just so cute. I love seeing you here in the chat and in the Discord, spending all the time with people, and I just know that wherever you are, there's fun times to be had. You're fun, you're lovely, you're kind, you're sweet. You make this community so very wonderful. I appreciate you. Thank you so very, very much for the redeem and for being a member of this community. Mwah. Titan, I'm good. I've been watching this fall in Seattle. Well, I'm glad you followed. Thank you, Titan. I appreciate it. Hikaru, how you doing, Hikaru? How are you? Lee, do two things. What two things are you doing? Mwah. What two things? Oh, whoops. I'm waiting for you. Go follow Hikaru. Go follow Hikaru, everybody. Give him a little info. Give him a little love. I'm struggling. No more devil. Nah, we're coming up on the end of stream. I kind of want to take a little break and just chat with you guys for a little bit. I think I'm kind of brain powered out, chat. It took me so much knowledge, so much brain to figure it out. I'm lucky crashing because I can't cross the damn highway. Pregnant, a baby. A baby? A baby? What do you mean a baby? What do you mean a baby? Do I have an art tag? Is it NSFW or is it not NSFW? I don't have an art tag. Chat, make me an art tag right now. First person to come with the best art tag wins. I believe in you. Ready? Let's go. If you were to Lucky Gallery, that's a lot of words. That's a lot of words. Lucky Ducky, LuckyJene art. LuckyJene art is pretty solid. I like Lucky Ducky. Jart. We're not naming it Jart. Actually, I kind of like La Jart. I like Jart. Okay, Jart. Hashtag Jart. Lucky Jart. Lucky Jart. Yes, it's Lucky Jart. Perfect. Hashtag Lucky Jart is the new art tag. Lucky Jart. Because there's a good chance that Jart is something it's gonna be like, oh yeah, Japanese art. So Lucky Jart. Lucky Jart it is. Give me a second, chat. We're updating the Twitters. Oh, I'm out of character spaces in my thing. I have the card. I don't need my Twitch, but I want my Twitch. Ah, here we go. Art tag. Hashtag Lucky Jart. Chat, can somebody Google Jart and make sure it's not a kink thing? I'm a little bit scared. Don't forget that Discord is 18+. I made tomato soup. Hi, Ben was killed. How you doing, Ben was killed? Hello, Robin. How you doing? Welcome. Good to see you. Good to see you. Verti Pixie. Yeah, let's go jarting right now. Don't you be jarting. No jarting right now. Straight up jarting my shits. I'm so proud of all of you though. Jart is a fantastic. Gaurav Jartlik. Jart's a skateboard company. Thank God. Woo! We're safe, chat. Safe. We're safe. I'm so proud of us. Good. Jart means a lawn dart? I believe it. You jarting my jorts? No, we're not jarting jorts. Gene, what's up, Robin Babette? Straight. Straight jarting my genets. Genets. You did your first VA job? Oh, I'm so proud of you. Good job. Dr. Jart Skincare. I love it. He's lost it, chat. I have lost it. I've lost a lot. Speaking of chat, we have Pink. I gotta check on Pink. Making a little tiny animation for me to add my voice demo on. But by Saturday, we should be premiering the voice demo. We're gonna be. Thank you for the hydrate. Mwah. By the way, Hikaru, sorry I didn't kiss you earlier. If I did kiss you, here's another one. Mwah. I'll be posting my. We'll be doing a premiere of the voice demo. It's about like 2 minutes long, and that we can watch and stream. And I'll be posting on Twitter. And if we can get that Twitter post up to about 100 likes, I said I'd do something. Chet, do you remember what I said I'd do if we hit 100 likes on that? Y'all probably remember, right? If I got 100 likes, whole reveal? No. It's not a whole reveal. Not a whole reveal. Not, no. I wanna hear him say something cursed? Please, please. I'd love to say something cursed. That's fucking wild. Yeah, Gene. Yeah, Gene. I remember exactly what you said you were gonna do. You said you're gonna show off your hole if you got 100 likes on Twitter. It was something big. I remember it was something big. We'll figure it out. We'll figure it out, chat. Oh, congratulations getting on the craft store. Whole spread guide? I'm not making a whole spread guide. I should have written it down. I should have written it down. Buy the doggy ears for 100 likes. Somebody say yes. I don't know what we're doing. Say yes. Big hole. We'll do something. What kind of food should you make? Soup. Make some soup. I need to take my heat suppressant pills at 100. I'll do like a song cover, or maybe I'll do like an audio, or we'll do some stupid gaming thing. Maybe we'll do a challenge of some sort, but we'll do something. We'll do something. I'll make it worth your while, okay? I promise. You're off to clean yourself. Oh, baby. You clean yourself nice and good. Praise you. Hi, Vanya. Of course I give you praise. Vanya. You lovely, lovely, lovely little raccoon. You mean the absolute fucking world to me. You are incredible. You are wonderful. You bring such joy to the stream, and you make this place better. Better than it ever is without you. I'm so glad you're here. Mwah. Thank you for being you, okay? I never change. I will only play things that stream will allow me to play. Karaoke! Oh my god, it was karaoke, chat. I said I'd do a karaoke stream if we got 100 likes on the voice demo. Chat gets to volunteer songs. I'll try to learn all the songs before we do karaoke. I'll learn all the songs, or at least like learn the lyrics. Maybe not be good at them. We'll do karaoke. We can do the karaoke with the style. Can I say? Dame dame. I see it, Silas. I see it. Pop them laces and put another baby in me, big boy. There, you happy? You happy? But if you haven't followed me on Twitter yet, by the way, chat. The schedule normally is up there. Right now it's incorrect, but here's the current schedule. Amazing. You almost spat in the art store. Don't you be spitting. Put that shit in your mouth. You're sobbing with laughter. Cry for a better reason. Baka Matari, if you do karaoke. Oh, fuck. Okay, give me a second. Chat, I feel our child kicking in my belly. Fuck you. Fuck you, Vanya. Yes, karaoke. And I'm not gonna, I will have the option to reject some chat messages. Not chat messages, sorry. Karaoke, because there's only so much I can do. I only have so much redeems, okay, chat? I mean, so much range. I can do, fuck. I'm not gonna sing right now. But if I were to sing, I can hit some of Mika, and I can get down below, a Mr. Oogie Boogie. I can do Hellfire pretty well. Maybe. I'm not making any promises yet. First, y'all gotta get it to 100 likes, okay? Remember, Saturday, 100 likes. I want to get it up there as quickly as possible, okay, chat? You think y'all can help me with that? Because the bigger it gets, the more attention it gets. Maybe I can be a real voice actor, chat. But yes. Yes. Okay. It's about time we come to an end here. We have to get 100 likes on my voice demo reel when I upload it on Saturday. Sweet. Okay. And that'll be premiering, by the way, this Saturday. So be there or be square. Eat a lot of juice and untie your hair. I don't know, chat. I don't know what I'm saying sometimes. Lily Danger. What are they doing? Okay, chat, we gotta find somebody to raid. I'm gonna look at who we have here. Do we look at somebody who's on the recommended? We have Just Chatting. Bay Soul. They sound interesting. I always worry, Pinky. We've raided a Pinky recently. Everybody taking your meds? Chat, take your meds. Chat, take your meds. We haven't taken them yet.
Extra ingredients, just...
Okay, no, we're not raiding to them. I'll raid to Pinky. Pinky's cool. Raiding Pinky. Oh wait, no, Willow Tree. Willow Tree Necromancer is streaming right now. I love Willow Tree. We haven't raided into Willow Tree in a long time, so we'll go say hi to Willow Tree. Okay. I love you all so very much. Stop ignoring you. No, we're not raiding Shrimp again. Normally, I'm not big on raiding in the collabs, but they're cool. So, chat, y'all say hi to Willow for me. Copy that link. They're playing Peak. Maybe we'll go take a peek at Peak. No, not the Empreg. No, don't you take the Empreg. Y'all have been amazing. I will see you all tomorrow. Same damn time, same damn place, okay? And for now, bye lovelies.